On that note, we will do this. We'll get to the Quarry story. Look, it rhymes too. Quarry story. I guess to fill in some of the backstory in case people missed it, David Menzies was mad that a quarry in the area of Stirling, it 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 had existed for a while on the side of this highway. I think it was Highway 14, and the city council decided to fence it off. And the reason given for wanting to fence it off was that the company that insures the city said that it's like a risk and was going to raise their premiums if they didn't sort of like protect the fence. So a lot of people started doing one of these like, it's the swimming hole that I swam in for years and you're taking it away, and they got really upset about it. So then David Menzies went down, they recorded it, and we joked because there was a moment where Mocha looked like he kind of went under the fence, but you also couldn't see his face. But David Menzies said it was Mocha going under the fence, and we speculated about whether they were breaking the law or not. And I think two cars pressured me to being like, it's not enough evidence to convict. So we're going to watch the follow-up, which is they're back now. They also ended by saying there's going to be a protest on it like come next weekend, so that has passed, and they filmed the protest of people going to break the law and swim in this quarry. So that's where we're at now, and we're going to see whether they stick to their hiding the evidence of whether or not they're going to break the law in this one, or whether we're going to get full-blown law breakage.
David Menzies for Rebel News, just north of Stirling, Ontario. In fact, folks, we're back at the Harold Quarry. We were here earlier in the week, and we showed you how, thanks to a council decision, the quarry that had been a beloved place as a swimming hole for almost a century, it has been walled off by fencing and barbed wire. But
Oh, they've got a drone now? Yeah, they had a drone the last time they did the quarry footage as well. And you could already tell lawbreakers, yeah, you can you can already tell Menzies is on the other side of the fence, but we'll get the footage of how that comes to be. But
guess what? Today is yet another swim-in protest, and just shows you necessity is the mother of invention, isn't it? Because as you can see, there is a two-ladder system that the people here that are part of the protest have used to breach the barbed wire.
This person has a neck brace. I never even noticed this before. Like, I always feel like this person should not be climbing ladders, let alone jumping into some random quarry. Jesus.
Fencing, and I can see several people down in the water having a jolly good time. I've heard rumors that council is actually thinking about making the barbed wire fencing even higher. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that just means these people.
Yeah, I don't think what this man is doing right now is a good idea. I agree, David. That seems really fucking dangerous, sir.
Well, that's like, so city council's like, we're going to make it bigger. So what, they're going to get a bigger, like arrested development staircase and then start hopping the like extra big staircase. But yes, that does not look safe at all, does it?
Larger ladders in order to breach the fencing. But in any event, let's wade into the swimming hole and talk to the local residents and see what they have to say about a once beloved, cherished summer tradition being fenced off by a fence that cost almost $50,000. Wow, your tax dollars hard at work yet again, eh?
So there's two sort of like propagandistic elements to this. I think the one difficulty is they're not actually good propagandists, so this kind of like falls flat. But like they're trying to hit on two things, right? The first is the tax. Oh my God, the city spent so much tax on erecting a fence or whatever, right? Yet you never hear any of the criticisms about the insurance company or the insurance industry or all this, which is really, if you want to get down to it, probably the biggest culprit in this whole thing, if this actually is a problem. Which gets me to the second element of the propaganda part of it, is that like, oh, we used to live in this wonderful time back in the 50s where you could just like swim in a quarry with like rusted scraps of metal and just be completely carefree in the world with everyone dying of tetanus. And like it's this like praise of the good old days kind of vibe to it, which has definitely like fascistic undertones to it.
When I was a young lad, me and the boys used to go down to the uranium mine and swim in the Talon Pond. And
now, granted,
listen, I'm the only one of those boys left, but we had fun, damn it.
It's like when like old people talk about their old stylish cars that didn't have any safety measure. And they're like, back in my day, we could just drive around in a little aluminum steel box. Didn't have to wear seatbelts. It's like, yeah, you all died. You all have brain damage. That's why you don't vote correctly now. Like, yeah, we need rules.
Cortez, like, unironically, I used to swim in a nickel tailings. Were you from Sudbury then? That feels like a Sudbury thing. Oh, yeah, nickel tailings pond in Sudbury. In retrospect, it was really gross. Yeah.
Don't go swimming in nickel tailings, please.
No, Sudbury is one of the most polluted cities in all of Ontario. They have one of the largest freestanding structures in the whole world, and it's just a giant smokestack. And they built it specifically because the shorter small smokestack would blow all the pollution on the city. So they just made it bigger so that the pollution would blow over the forest instead. And
what is wrong with your country?
Hey, yeah, I would say America probably has a worse incident with industrial damage to.
Hey, listen, we're talking about Canada right now.
Yes.
We're not talking about Canada's turn, specifically Sudbury. We can just rack on Sudbury right now. We don't need to bring Detroit or any of the other major cities into this.
One of the greatest things about Sudbury is. Oh, sorry. You say your thing first there, and then I'll come.
The thing is, Elrond, we are a resource extraction based colony. That's literally the only reason this country exists, is to poison the earth further. So
that is true.
Wow, good job.
My favorite thing about Sudbury is they have this great place, and it really is a great place and a fun place to take your kids. It's called Science North, and the whole time you walk through the building, it's like, it's talking about the history of the city and the mining, but it's like with an environmentalist tinge. So it's like, we did damage and like we're like polluting the world and like all this, right? And the whole time it's going on and on about like how we're destroying the planet and global warming is real and we need to be worried about all this. Then when you're done like your adventure in the building and you're coming out the exit, the first thing you see upon leaving is that giant fucking smokestack. And you're just like, okay.
I really thought you were going to talk about, you would go to the science thing and walk through the forest and you just be like collecting different mutations from all the pollution that you're stepping through.
No, but they do. The rocks in Sudbury, like the shale edges, which are normally like a gray color. No, they're pitch black from all the soot and shit that have collected.
Oh.
Which is it's the opposite of glow. But
it'd be bad if they glue, honestly. That'd be really concerning.
Oh, while we're on this topic then, there's Elliott Lake. The funny thing is I still do love camping at Elliott Lake. It's beautiful. There's a Mississauga Provincial Park up there. It's wonderful. But Elliott Lake is the place where it was like one of the first uranium mines in like all of Canada. And I think also like we gave you uranium from Elliott Lake to help build your first atomic bombs and stuff like that.
Yes, we did.
And it's just...
World thanks you for your sacrifice.
It's just interesting because you're in this pristine area, beautiful forest, and then there's just like tailing ponds with like uranium that are being held together with like canvas sheets. Northern Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I wonder too, because I've camped there a lot, is just like, have I breathed in? And then the other thing is they turned Elliott Lake because there was a a population decrease because everyone fled because of uranium poisoning and shit like this, and the mines closing. So then they decided to like restylize and make themselves more like appealing by turning into like a resort town, appealing to like old folks. So there's like a ton of old folks villages. Breathe in that uranium. Yeah, now everyone retires in Elliot Lake. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's weird places. Fun place to go though. It's very very beautiful. Very beautiful. As to this quarry, so I mean, we're talking about nickels, we're talking about uranium. The reason why this thing was dug out was apparently because they just needed filler for the road. So it's just purely like shale and slate that was taken, ground up, and then used as like the shoulders of the road, or like the underneath road before you put the asphalt on top. So I can't imagine that there would be anything like toxic chemicals to that extent, but yeah, that's nothing I'd swim in. I'd swim in it too, but here's the other thing is like there's other shit in there. And we'll get to that in a second, but yeah. I don't know that I'd swim in this.
Can you explain what was behind this decision to put up an almost $50,000 fence
That dog is a
to
lawbreaker.
prohibit residents of this area to go swimming, something that's been done for almost a century?
I'm not sure because the council never looked for public input on that.
The worst part of it is that they did it without talking to anybody. It just popped up.
And we didn't even have.
I want to know like how they think like city council works.
Oh, no. You can't stop it right there. Not when Grandma's about to have her say. You can't do that. You can't cut her off like that.
We'll give Grandma her say in a second. She speaks a lot. We can listen to Grandma. But I was just going to say, like, with city council, they get, like, a message down through the insurance company being like, we're going to increase your insurance policies if you don't fence this thing off. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, our system works because we give them representatives. It's like, if you get pissed off at something they do, then vote them out next time. But do you think that the city is going to consult you about every single thing that happens in the city? I mean, they consult in the same sense that they hold city council meetings. My guess is they just didn't show up. Show up next time. Follow your city council. Don't complain after the fact.
Have a vote when they took us to Stirling. They just said you had to go.
Yes.
And that was right.
Wow.
And we didn't have anybody to say anything. If I'd have been younger, I might have. I'm too old.
It's also the second fence in 2 years, right? They built a fence and then they replaced this fence.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's ridiculous.
Okay.
I think that they should rethink the whole thing. I think it should be turned into a spot of beauty where you can take advantage of this natural wonder. And I drive by here.
Natural wonder?
Natural wonder.
This giant hole that we used for road filler. What a natural wonder.
Quarries just, pop up. Hole in the ground
Rod comes
opens.
down. He sticks his hand down. He picks up a chunk of dirt, drops it somewhere else, and says, "Here you guys go. One day, water will fill this hole, and then you and your children can go swimming above the uranium mine that you're gonna have to do."
Neck brace.
Have fun.
Neck brace.
I try to flood, but this turns out to be a lot more fun.
Yeah. Neck brace Rick goes, the average age of interviewees seems high to me. They do seem a little high.
Here almost all the time. And on beautiful days, you see families having picnics and going for swims and stuff like this here. I don't see any problem with fencing it off. But why don't they go and hire some lifeguards or hire a security company to come in and have these gates open for X number of hours on a Saturday or a Sunday?
I
love his solution is like, don't pay $50,000 for a fence. Pay like $200,000 for staff to monitor the thing and just turn it into a swimming pool. Oh, I love it.
have heard that there was a suicide committed, and that's it. No injuries, no fatalities, nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, people are responsible, I would think.
there's a lot of farmers who are having to buy water instead of backing their truck down there and taking water out of the quarry to go and feed their livestock.
There's part of this argument just seems kind of weird to me, which is like if they're all feeding their cattle with the thing, wouldn't it just drain the quarry and then no one can swim in it? Like, I don't fully know what the argument is. But then the other part of it is the woman mentioned the suicide again. As far as I could tell, I can't find any information that there was or was not a suicide. Cat Lady, who often watches on YouTube, so she'll know who I'm referring to. I think she goes by Cat Lady on Twitter as well. She's sent me some like local articles on this, and there was one incident where a 65-year-old woman drove into the quarry, and I can't find any information that it was a suicide. If anything, it was likely that, like, given the close proximity to this highway that's right beside it, she veered off the road and then drove into the quarry and then drowned. And that happened in 2014, which, you know, given how slow city councils and stuff work, like, they said there was a fence here 2 years ago and then they replaced it with this one, right? So, like, it's in around the time of this accident happening, this woman dying, and these fences being erected, right? Maybe that has more to do with it. The other thing, too, is the police report acknowledged that that has not been the only car that they found abandoned in this quarry. But this was the first body they found in this quarry. So that means other people have been driving fucking cars into this thing. Which is, it gets back to the toxicity of this pond. Like, I'm sure it's not that toxic, but it's got, like, you know, the engines and oil and fucking everything else from cars that are sitting at the bottom of this thing, just like leaching. So,
I mean, and rotting body stuff.
Well, I mean,
considering, like, it's a quarry, so I doubt there's fish. Did they introduce fish? I don't know if they do that to quarries, but, like,
fish was introduced because apparently they keep talking about the Mennonites fishing for bass in it. So my guess is there's bass in the quarry.
So they got something to clean up the bodies, at least. That's good.
At least something's there to clean up the bodies. That sounds like a thing they should do, a local campaign, if they feel that way. They could do so many things. I mean, like, if they wanted, I do like the idea of having, like, lifeguards and stuff like that. Sure, if that's what you want to do, then petition your city council instead of just, like, I feel like all these people, they're just reactionary. They're like, well, why didn't they put a fence around the hole that I've been to once in my life? And then they come out to be like, we gotta protest the fence. When it's like, why didn't you show up at city council and, like, argue it then? Or you still could go to city council and talk to them and see if they'll change your mind, or you can change their mind. Have fun.
You know, that's a good point too, because and I understand the fire department comes here for water.
Yeah, and the fire department's here. Like I say, I live in Springbrook, and there's a volunteer fire department, and the only way they can get water is from here or from somebody else's pond. So why not open it up?
I used to swim here all the time since the time we moved to Stirling in 2002. Great place, lots of fun. It's just silly.
I'm now here to support them because this is outrageous what the town did. This is public land that was donated from a private owner to the municipality for all the people.
Even the fact that
I don't know that it was donated. Well, it wasn't donated. They actually sold the quarry for $5. We're talking like years ago when $5 meant a lot more than it would today. But it was literally like they needed, I think the government used the land for the quarry, and then they just had the hole and were like, well, we don't use it for the farming anymore, so they sold it to the municipality for $5. I don't know what she's talking about, but they did it for the good of the society in the middle of nowhere. They sold the city a $5 watering hole. Patriotic sale, yeah.
You get what you pay for.
I do. So, Rick, we talked about this last time, which is that they keep talking about this, like the fire department using this for water, as if like what happens is the fire alarm goes. They then rush to their vehicle, drive away from the fire to the watering hole, fill up their firing truck, and then drive to the fire and put it out. And so David Menzies was complaining about all the locks on the fence, as if like the firefighters having to hop out of their vehicle and unlock the locks is going to slow them down significant to like put out the fire. And it's like, my guess is what's happening is that the firefighters fill up before a fire so that they have a full tank ready to go for when a fire happens. But they always talk about it as if like an emergency is going to hit and then they get impeded by the fences around the pond and can't fucking do it.
Yeah, firefighters are notoriously bad at planning ahead so that they can be ready to go. Like they need to like, they forget, they forget to fill the trucks up with water and all that. It happens,
I love these old folksy people that just have not thought through any of the things that they're saying. Well, the firemen need the fire water, and if they don't get the fire water, then all the houses burn.
Didn't that guy say though that like they were using it for drinking water or something?
Yeah, for cattle.
They were using it.
Yeah, like
for
what?
Farm water.
All of this is bad. You can't do that. You can't swim in the drinking water. You can't be doing that. You can't be dumping cars in your drinking water. What do you mean? You have
cows are tough.
I feel like this is like, health and safety 101. Like you have the bathing water separate from the drinking water. Yeah.
I wonder if
right?
I mean,
I wonder if the
I don't know.
Mennonites are the
I'm
ones who
more
put
sympathetic
efficiency
to
on.
like them. Like I'm pretty sympathetic to like the needs of like the cow farmers or whatever the fuck, like coming down and pumping up some water. Like it seems like a large quarry. It's not like they're
I'm not disagreeing.
It's same like getting out of a river, but like
Yeah, I'm not saying that the cows should go thirsty. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if someone
I think you were saying that.
If someone told me that I was swimming in the cow's drinking water, I would get out. That's all I'm saying. That's the only point I'm really making. If someone told me, right, that if I got in my bathtub that there had been a car leaking oil in there and a decomposing body, and they're going to use that water to feed their cows tomorrow, I think I'd get a different place to live, honestly. That'd be the end of it.
You haven't lived until you've bathed in bodies / motor oil. Like, what's wrong with you, Elron?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if like the Mennonites were the ones who cut the deal with the city. So now they actually have keys to enter in and are still using the water to feed their cows. They were in on it.
I'm so sure that that's the case too.
Yeah.
Like,
because
it's literally just to like stop random people swimming in it. Like what?
Yeah, I mean there could be so much.
Like the use of the water, I'm sure, hasn't changed beyond not letting people like swim unsupervised type of thing.
Yeah.
Council said it was.
But also, like I've swam in Lake Erie.
Well, yeah.
I swam in worse. Like
yes. I just swam in Lake Huron. Same issues. Or Georgian Bay, technically, but Lake Huron.
Say because there's no public record of it. We've tried to go through
I love
the
this.
proper channels.
City
to go to council
councils
meetings,
shut it
but
up.
we don't actually know if it's the insurance company. That is the town rumor,
Wow.
but we're not sure if insurance is the reason.
They were told by the insurance company, so we were told. I asked for the letter of instruction from the insurance company, and I didn't get a copy. And they say, to my knowledge, there isn't one. It was just a verbal thing done behind closed doors. So, so the clerk, I assume, told council, "You got to close the quarry," and they said, "Okay."
If you break down the municipality's insurance costs separately, our library went up by 25%, but I don't think we're going to fence it off.
We cannot.
What? Oh my god.
These things are comparable.
Yeah. Again, like I don't know why the library went up by 25%, but like it probably has nothing to do with like it could be maybe they expanded the library. I mean, there's so much information here. And they also make it sound like there's like some sort of like city council conspiracy. And like maybe they cut a deal with the Mennonites behind the table, and so then they're just wheeling and dealing. They're like keeping things secret. I don't know. My guess is just they're like, they're still in the process of the paperwork stuff, because my guess is like, yes, it probably was a verbal notification from the insurance company, and then they're not going to give their like feedback on what the policy is until like now they have a fence. So then it's like, okay, now you're more secure, and we'll give you an updated version of what your policy is going to be like, or something like this, right? I mean, it could be that, or there could be some grand conspiracy where they're trying to hide it from you, why they erected this fence.
Yeah, it's what do you think it is? Do you think it's conspiracy, or do you think that a bunch of people looked at this fucking safety hazard and said, "No, you need to put a fence up. We're raising your rates if you don't fucking do this, man. Come on, you gotta do better. Come on."
It's likely that, but but like, I don't know. It just in the sense of like these people being like, well, I went to city council. I've been to several city councils as well, and you do get there's certain types that are like, I demand access to every bit of information you've ever done. It's like, I don't know. We can have a further discussion about whether or not city council should or should not have some, to what extent there should be total transparency or not. And that's a difficult question that we're not going to address in this little segment that we're doing. But whether this fence or quarry is deserving such open transparency is kind of simple.
I am of the opinion that they should take the fence down and build a ramp so that cars have easier access to getting into the quarry.
Fill the quarry with jelly beans.
No,
and have the
make it a
kids
jump
around it.
platform so that cars can drive down and try to jump over the quarry.
Make it a ballot initiative of whether or not to devote money to making it into a public pool. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Attend council meetings anymore, and I just heard from other people, even you attend virtually, you can't hear anything.
So I don't see any reason why.
So I feel, before we let Grandma speak again, I feel like what that woman said is more on target to what happened, which is that like you have a bunch of old people complaining about Zoom city council meetings because it's a pandemic right now, being like, why won't you take my question? My guess is there's a lot of that going on as well. I just want to put it out there. No offense to all the older people. I just also have parents that are in their 60s and fully understand what's happening. No offense to my mom and dad. I love you, but we're being real here. I demand a separate podcast and stream to delve into the minutiae of municipal government. Maybe one day. We'll see. I mean, that's something we have promoted on the show, is to be more involved with municipal politics. So, don't get me started on that.
If they put a sign up, swim at your own risk or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the
Or
way
whatever.
it used to be.
Yeah.
And when they came, they had to swim at their own risk. There were no fences or anything around.
And even when people were swimming at their own risk, I don't think this was a hot spot for drownings at all, was it?
No, I never knew of anybody to drown.
There you go.
I
She never knew.
ever heard of anybody.
Mom, how long have you lived? Like, you live within a mile of this. How long have you lived there?
Ever since,
You've lived there since 1947.
Wow.
yes, since 47.
So in those
How about
years,
now?
that's a long time to never have an incident.
Well, folks, I'm going to join the swim.
I also feel bad at the fact that David Menzies is that close to an older woman without a mask on, and they're not wearing
Yeah.
masks. I just thought about that right now. That made me slightly uncomfortable.
Women protesters now by taking part in an egregious act of rebellion, which is climbing up this ladder and then going down that ladder. Talk about necessity being the mother of invention. When people want to go swimming on a hot summer day, it'll take more than this $50,000 barbed wire fence to prevent them from doing so.
Oh shit! Oh shit! David Menzies! Oh!
Fucking microphone still
I
hooked
love they
up
had
and
to
everything.
speed up the footage too.
You know, it's kind of funny if fencing off this quarry to swimmers was all in the name of safety. When you think of it, forcing people who want to swim climbing up two ladders, that's probably the unsafest thing about this quarry in the first place.
See how Ron David Menzies agrees with you.
I love that he did it. I love that he did it, and he filmed it, and he filmed all of these people, and they're all so proud. And what the fuck are you all doing?
I
What
just like
is this?
white people filming the crimes. That should be the name of their show.
Oh my god.
There's also like what was it? This has not been like the only protest. Apparently they did one like the previous like 2 weekends ago or something like this, and the police showed up and didn't even ticket anybody. It's like one of those things. It's like white people get away with so much.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
Super
you
frustrating.
you really do. It's very frustrating. Look at that. Like there's just a bunch of them. Like they're all on camera.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
How many of
like,
them are gonna
no.
get ticketed? And here's the
But
other
you
thing.
know,
They-
a few black kids put out an unregulated sprinkler, try to sell water, and oh, it's a big fucking deal.
Probably. The other thing is they always looked like angry and aggrieved. So they're gonna get mad at the fact that like even though they're having the rebellion, I mean when I've rebelled, it's been joyous. You know, you're rebelling, have a good time. But these people look like the most miserable fucking people alive. You know, like watch this shit.
I mean, if someone falls off a ladder, the ladder gives way. I don't think that's going to happen. It's nicely tethered here. But isn't that kind of the opposite of what council is trying to do here? Bizarre. Hi, ma'am. What brings you out to this swim-in protest?
We were actually just passing by and I was told there was a protest, so we thought we'd lend our support.
So you're more of a fan of protests as opposed to swimming, I guess.
I used to swim here like 35 years ago every day with my family. Yeah.
My name is Gary Kite. I am a Stirling Township taxpayer.
Here's my name.
I've been coming here for 50.
I know. He's like, and I am local to this city, and I am a taxpayer.
Okay.
And I've been
Here's
coming
my
here for
driver's
51
license.
years.
Yeah, you
With
can
my
find me
kids,
at this address
with my
at this time.
grandkids.
Like, I love how boss this person is like, David in his fucking suit and his hat. This dude's just like, I'm a fucking taxpayer and I'm gonna swim in this fucking hole. And no one's gonna stop me.
And myself and my whole family. Why they did this, I have no idea. Talk about not asking the people what they want or what they need. Maybe they should go back through their old systems as well. Their principal for the Stirling schools used to fish in here with his 12-foot aluminum boat.
Oh.
His name was Ed Fleming, well respected, Springbrook, Stirling. I don't know why they did this.
I'm not 100% sure why. I've never really.
Pretty sure this is like the youngest person at this pool right now.
Heard anything other than Facebook has said the insurance for the town has went up. Is hearsay, but they never officially said anything.
And tell me, do you think there's any hope in the near or far future of this council reversing its decision, at least opening up the gate so that people don't have to bring ladders so that they can enjoy swimming here again?
I don't know if it's going to be soon, but first off, why would you do something without consult? 2, why would you put in something that you're going to class as a legal thing without a bylaw to begin with? And then 3, like I say, what harm is it doing? The most harm is going to come from when somebody falls off that fence,
Someone was on
falls
my
off that
porch.
gate, or if my property burns down because they have to unlock 5 locks or 4 locks in order to
That's
get
right. That's the fire department.
See, my house is gonna burn down because the firefighter has to unlock 8 billion locks. It's like that's not how it fucking works, but
Department,
It's
right?
the fire department. Okay. Who's to say that the guy that's here first knows exactly how to unlock this gate?
So, sir, if I were to poll the residents in the community, is this a popular decision, or because I'm getting the sense that the vast majority of people hate what's happened here?
I think it's a whim. It wasn't a decision. It was, oh, let's take it and go ahead. Let's not go. We were never supposed.
I wonder what is the population of Stirling, Ontario? Let's do that. I'm just curious, judging by the size of this crowd here. Is the whole town right now with the watering hole? Okay, the population is 4,882. And we have like, what, 20 people? 30 people? I mean, does that make it popular, not popular? I don't know how to gauge that.
Spoke to as a person of the township, of the village, It was just
Oh,
something
yeah.
that came out. My understanding is
Oh,
it was
I'm gonna get
conversation
those
between
premium
one or two
dog shots.
counselors and maybe the mayor.
I wonder like what goes through Mocha's head. Mocha's just like, dog shot, let's go. I guess because like filming this guy is no longer interesting. We must go to the dog.
But I know the mayor knows everything about it apparently. So
Maybe it's his subtle way of saying
why
this
wasn't
story has
it
gone
taken through the
to
proper
the dogs.
steps? Why was it just done on a whim? Hi, Indy.
Do you have?
Well, like I've met a lot of people like that who just like know everything there is about like local politics. Like old Jim Bob used to work down at the watering hole, and I met his cousin Bob, and like, and it's like, yeah, okay. I don't know why we need to let them rant for our story on this quarry. I mean, I guess that is the only interview you can have for a quarry at this point.
Have any hope that these kind of swim-in protests will get council to change their minds, or will they use the expenditure against that? They saying, "Well, we already spent $50,000. We can't, tear it down." How do you think this will play out?
I think that if we make a stand enough, they might just leave the gate open, and then that would, stop the people from falling in around the fence. But then people could still come in and access their water.
I think that's a great compromise, because if they're worried about people jumping in from the banks, they've fenced that off. But like you said, open the gate. This is a very gentle grade down to the water hole, and let people on a beautiful July summer day like this jump in and cool down.
Yeah, we're not doing any damage. We're just enjoying nature.
Well, folks, as the
nature, the watering hole. I do want to say, like, there is like an interesting fact to them just filming all the people who are breaking the law and how willing they are to just go on camera, because they know they're not going to get fucking. If anything, they're just going to get a small ticket, because of course they are.
Afternoon continues. More people are coming to this swim-in protest. Some people are going into the water. Some are just hanging around on the parking lot, both of which, if you can believe it, are trespassing offenses now. And yet during previous swim-ins, when the Ontario Provincial Police came, many of the demonstrators were begging to get a ticket. The police officers would not comply with that request. That suggests to me that this whole bylaw, or whatever it is that's fencing off the quarry, might be on very shaky ground when you have police saying, no, we're not going to enforce this law.
It, like, to me, it doesn't suggest some sort of like we're on shaky grounds thing. To me, it suggests they're like, this would be worth more of a struggle than it's worth. Or like the struggle isn't worth it, in that they're just going to come back. It's a small ticket. Are we going to waste our resources? Am I going to expend my own energy, hop this fence, etc., etc.? It's just not worth them to do it. It doesn't mean that it's like the fence or like these things are going to change or whatever the fuck David Menzies is trying to argue here.
In the meantime, like I said, on our first trip to this waterhole to channel Ronald Reagan circa 1987, Mayor Mullen, tear down this fence, and it might be in your best interest to do so. Next year is an election year here in Stirling Rawdon, and maybe if the fence isn't gotten rid of, perhaps people here will get rid of the mayor and council instead. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
I would love to see you behind bars for real, David. That'd be amazing.
Sure. If the town is so upset about this, they vote out the mayor. Okay, cool, fine. And then tear down your fence. Sure. Now, two cars. Since you're in the chat, normally we leave before here, but something happens in the outro that I think you need to see. Okay, just in our discussion or debate about Mocha's guilt or innocence, I think this footage is very important. So here we go.
Hey folks, Rebel News, we haven't cut back our reporting like the mainstream media.
Okay, I forgot that it was in like the bottom corner. Okay, we gotta move the window up here. Oh shit. Move this. Oh, it keeps snapping here. Okay, you can see Mocha. Mocha is down here, going under the fucking fence.
Media.
Look at this shit.
We are getting out into the field more so every day, every week, every month, but we need your help. If you can, please go to rebelfieldreports.com. Make a donation so that we can continue.
Can you file a police report on trespassing? Yeah, we should. We should immediately. Jesus Christ. Just when I couldn't, like, when I was watching it, and I saw that, and then it transitioned to the outro, and then you just see Mocha casually walking underneath the fence and crawling out. So, there you have it. There you have it. Mocha violated the law. You done it. I'm pretty sure this will be the last story of the watering hole. Maybe we could do a follow-up if next year Mr. Mullins does not get elected, but until then, fuck that watering hole.
Hello, my rebels. Hello, my rebels. I'm a good boy. I'm a weirdo.